again, this has just face validity. Anyone know why? Yes?
It follows your...
Exactly. And that's where, you know, that's where your eyes go. And I don't, have you I'm sure you have. You can't be the only one who doesn't. You kind of wonder when the eyes start moving, if they're lechy or not, the other person, you know? Really. You know, you kind of don't want your eyes darting all over the place. You know, you want to make it easy for people, and that's the reason. You kind of, you know, want to do this. You want to make it easy. You want to be perceived properly. You want to maintain the image that you've decided you want to portray, and we'll talk about that as the evening goes on. Okay? So, we're good with name tags. You're sitting here, you're waiting, you're having conversation. Let's talk about how we start the conversation. There actually is a protocol to it, although very few people follow it. But it really works if you do. The protocol is that you first speak to the person on your right and chat. And in truly old dinner parties, that used to happen. Everyone would go right and chat, and then after that course, they'd turn left and chat. Okay? So it's a very orderly way to do it. Very few people do this anymore. The reason I'm telling you is that it could be the case that perhaps you'd be in England, for example, at a dinner party, or at an older person's home, and you see this happening, you're not going to be surprised. A lot of what I'm telling you is so you're prepared for anything, because that gives you a polished look, a sophisticated look, and that's what we're all going for in this competitive market. You're going to be talent shortly, looking for positions, and this is another way in which you can appear sophisticated, worldly, polished, ready for anything. Okay, and that's what I'm trying to leave you with, ready for anything. So ask me every question you can. Yes?
If everyone goes right, would we be talking to everyone's back? I don't understand.
Well, so you would speak, you're right, you're exactly right. You're speaking to the right, and you're starting with your person to the right.
Right.
Exactly. And yes, and you're going right. And then at the end of the first course, you don't have to do this, just be prepared. The point really is talk to everybody, okay? Yes?
Well, who would decide that? Like, who starts what? Like the host? So, but if it's a circular, like if you're at an all-guest table,
exactly.
It's just kind of like...
And you know, you just wait. A lot of what you do at functions and dinner parties is you wait and see what's going on with the people around you. And especially if it's multicultural, because you want to see what's happening. And we went out, we have some fairly new friends who are Indian and went to school in Bombay. And we did an Indian wine tasting dinner together last weekend. And it was so interesting. You know, Indian wines I knew nothing about. And it was really interesting. They're very different. We talked about these social skills. And the perceptions were very different. And I could have easily offended someone by being an outgoing female. In this party was an older Indian gentleman accompanying them. And they explained this to me. They said, well, you know, this would make it more culturally neutral. And they explained some of these nuances. So the point is to kind of study your group and to see where it is. You don't have to just jump right in there. You can see what's going on, especially if it's multicultural or multi-generational, which is a big deal these days. It's a big deal in corporations. A lot of the CEOs I consult with are complaining about 20-somethings and their lack of etiquette and the fact that their Facebooks are filled with all kinds of innuendos that they'd rather not be public. And I'm being called by actually a president of a university just cornered me about a week ago, big university, and said, you've got to come. Here's an intern, she doesn't know what to do, we're trying to fundraise, how do I give her the social skills she needs? And this I'm hearing a lot. I do some writing for national magazines like Cosmopolitan and 17 and just, you know, Elle and magazines like that. Even there, which you would think would be the height of liberalness, the editors, the senior editors are saying, I'm just in my mid-30s, but I cannot deal with these 20-somethings. They're driving me crazy. These interns are making me nuts because they're talking about their sex lives at the water coolers. And so I'm hearing this, I'm telling you, across the board, it doesn't matter where it is, if it's New York or West Coast, I'm going to be harping on discretion because part of making people feel comfortable is being discreet as well. So in everything you're doing here, you're thinking about two things of what makes sense. You're thinking about what's kind, how do you make all of the people in this function interns or applicants because of a perceived lack of discretion as they've seen from their MySpace or Facebook. Happens a lot. Second most common reason, although I think Monster says it's first, is a poor appearance for turning down applicants. But the second one now, increasingly, is that you guys get Googled and something comes up. It also happens in corporate structures. I know an EVP who was turned down for a position because of his Facebook was indiscreet. So, I mean, it's happening all the time now, and I can't stress this enough. I'm kind of leaping ahead to the end of what I was going to talk to you about, but please think about that and give me your feedback, because I need it. I have to write, and I need to be in touch with what you guys are knowing and where you see the faux pas. So please, at the last slide, there is contact information for me. Are cell phones turned off or on vibrate, everybody? Nobody would violate that. Fabulous. Yes?
I have a question. Is vibrate kind of tacky?
Yes, it is. I totally agree. I hear it, and I hear my own. You know, you have to train yourself no matter where you go, and I'm serious no matter, because it's just a learned response like everything else. Turn it off, or if you have a quiet vibrate, which I don't, put it on vibrate. Yeah, and do it immediately, even if you don't think. And if you have to you know, wait for someone's call, then excuse yourself and go take care of it. So we're all going to goof up from time to time, but, you know, just kind of minimize the risk. Excuse me, I'm going to let them know the student.